What's up guys, we are doing another PvM coaching video today, which has been submitted by another viewer for helping to try and increase DPS and stuff, or look at anything they can do to improve PvM. Again, this is stuff that I don't claim to be amazing at PvM at, but if the players that submit these think that I can probably help, then we'll take a look at it happily and we'll see if there's anything we can help with. If it's made a video, then there's probably a few things we can talk about here. So that being said, let's get into this and let's see how this goes. This is for the Blackstone Dragon, so it's not my strongest boss, so we may not be looking specifically at boss mechanics and stuff to deal with, but just things at PvM in general. So now that you're actually at the boss fight, let me just wait until you get past this bank here in case you load a preset, because you're going to reload. Yeah, you're going to reload your thing here. Okay, so you do have a shield. Good to see. You got vulnerability bombs. Good to see as well. You're using a vitality potion. I don't know if you'll need that in this fight. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. You are using rocktails and brew flasks, and you have an elder overload potion, a prey renewal, and I'm assuming this is your adrenaline potion here. I think it's an adrenaline potion mixed with one of these. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure that's your adrenaline potion. And then you've got a weapon poison, which is good to see. I think the Blackstone Dragon is poisonable, right? And then you got a Ripper Demon with scrolls. Nice, good to see too. And the gear you have is full Serenic with Cinderbane gloves, an Eldritch crossbow as a main hand, and you have an Essence of Finality. I'm going to assume that's got a dart bow in it. I would say it probably has. Zook Cape, Zerka Ring, and the Book of Full. This is fine. So apart from having like dual wield and then swapping with an Essence of Finality, ECB and stuff, you're kind of pretty much there, right? So this is good. You have the tier 95 curse. You don't have tier 99, which is fine. It's just an upgrade that is worth mentioning, and I'll mention that a little later on as well, probably towards the end. Other than that, I think... Oh, you're on Reckless Aura too, so that's good to see. Okay, so we'll get into this. As we are going, the first things I would suggest you do with your preset or your inventory is remove remove the restores, the super restore flasks, and replace that. Maybe replace one rocktail as well with a spiritual prayer potion, the flasks, because the reason you want those is as you drink those, it will make your Ripper Demon attack more too, which increases your damage a lot. Downing spiritual prayer potions during a fight increases your DPS a ton, so definitely take advantage of that. As long as your Ripper Demon's set to auto fire every one attack, you can just down the crap out of those and you're good to go. Okay, so starting off with Death Swiftness and using your adrenaline potion, you dodge the things to begin with, and you're going to go ahead. Are you prayer flicking this? You are prayer flicking this. I didn't even know it was possible. Like I say, I don't really know much about the Blackstone Dragon, so we're going to see about that. I don't know if it's worth using ECB spec at the beginning or not, whether you get absolutely smacked too much or not. I really wouldn't know. That's not for me to comment on. I'm not going to tell you stuff that I'm not sure about. But anyone who does know, please let us know in the comments. Should he just be using ECB spec this whole fight, or should you be doing it just like during this? But I assume you're going to use it on the hands. I'm just going to assume. So one thing you definitely should work on is bringing Dominion Mines here. I know that's an unlock and it's going to take a while. Dominion Mines are absolutely worth it. There you go. There's the ECB spec. I thought it was going to come out, so I didn't want to say anything just yet. But there we go. ECB spec. I would have done that straight away, probably. The second new phase. If you're not going to use it on the first phase, I would have ECB spec'd immediately after that to get that damage in. And then you could probably res the black damage hits from the hands. So this smoke that's coming, you can res it up. So you could quickly shield swap and you'd be fine. But anyway, the next thing other than Dominion Mines is I would probably swap your rocktails to blue blubber jellyfish as well, because that way you don't have to spend adrenaline when you eat. The reason you don't want to do that is because every time you eat, especially with an ECB, you need that adrenaline big time with an ECB to keep that spec up. Whenever you eat, you're going to end up struggling to keep that adrenaline up because you lose 10% adrenaline. So blue blubbers heal almost the same amount and don't cost any adrenaline. They're just in bites rather than one whole munch for the full health. Maybe that's something you need to work on, make sure that ECB spec is up. But I understand this because I was absolutely terrible when I was using ECB, so I'm not going to comment like I know what I'm doing. Keeping the ECB spec up, though, is definitely going to increase your damage a lot here. And then prayer flicking for that would definitely be the way you want to go. You could vuln the actual hands if you wanted to. I don't think it matters too much, but you definitely could do that if you want to spend that extra little bit of money to get a faster kill. I would highly recommend bringing a Hydrix bolt switch if you can get one of those. So the reason I would say bring a Hydrix bolt switch is you've just killed those hands now and you are at 39% adrenaline. Now what you could have done, or what I would have suggested you do, is when you get to this last hand here, you want to stop using thresholds. You want to just probably use ECB spec, get it down a little bit, and as you get to about 30k, build your adrenaline back up and don't use anything else. I think you just dartbowed there, right? Yeah, you definitely dartbowed. So if we look, you'll see how fast your adrenaline drops. You'll see it now. I think you're going to dartbow. Yeah, that dartbow there I'd have just waited and used something like Snapshot, which is off cooldown now, or Rapid Fire, because you're about to go into the next phase where you want to Death Swiftness straight away. Whereas now you've done this, the Dart Bow, which is good because you do the damage, right? But you've used Dart Bow and you're going to struggle to have Adrenaline when you get back there now. But you definitely want to just build up your Adrenaline as fast as you can here. Using a Hydrix Bolt Switch will make that way easier. If you use Hydrix Bolt Switch just for greater ricochet, you'll get a lot of Adrenaline out of that. It's definitely worth doing that, and just being able to get used to managing. I assume these are Ruby Bolts, but Hydrix Bolts are switching between those and Ruby when you use Gricko even, or when you just need Adrenaline during Rapid Fire, for example, as well. That's a great thing to get used to, and it will increase your DPS a lot because you'll have high Adrenaline pretty much all the time. You get a lot of Adrenaline. Using Gricko and Hydrix Bolts, tons of Adrenaline. You would have been at 100% here. So you want to make sure you're 100% when you phase that, so you can Death Swiftness straight away. Okay, is your book on? So your book of full isn't on at the moment. I assume this is probably just a mistake because you're recording. I say this every time pretty much, but when you're recording a video and you got a bit of pressure, you forget things like this, and you forget to Vorm Bomb, all that sort of stuff. Another thing you could definitely do is bring Smoke Cloud runes. I don't know if you have Ingenuity of the Humans. It doesn't look like you do, but if you do have it, and you can, or if you can get it, you could bring Smoke Cloud along with you, and that's going to increase your damage as well, because it does increase damage every time you crit. So definitely worth bringing along if you can. But that full book definitely wants to be on. Holy crap, you nearly died. That was so close. Damn. Okay, so yeah, so here you wanted to have your Adrenaline up so you could Death Swiftness straight away. Now that's where your damage is going to come from. You want to Death Swiftness very quickly. But yeah, you're going to dodge out from that smoke. So with that, you could have actually just stayed there. You didn't need to back up there. This doesn't just like get you at all the time. You would have been absolutely fine there. Normally you can stand pretty close to him, and then if you need to, because it's only one tile wide, I think, one or two at the most, you can just take one step in to avoid that smoke, or one step back if you need to. So here is where you want to be putting out as much damage as you can to make sure that you get into the flying phase. So far in this fight, something to point out, so far in this fight, you've been in here 3 minutes 40, which isn't a mockery of your kill time, by the way. I'm just making a point. Your Ripid Image used 7 scrolls. You had 99 when you got here. It's used 7 scrolls in 3 minutes 40. If you had Spiritual Prayer Potions and you were sipping on one of those every now and again, you would have been able to make him use so many more of those. And while that's expensive, you'll be pushing your DPS out so much faster. And getting faster kills mean you make more money. It does work out. It does work out spending the extra money to get faster kills. You will make more money as well. So it's definitely worth doing that. Keep that in mind though. You want to be drinking those Spiritual Prayer Potions. Get them on your preset. Definitely worth it. The Black Dragon's not vuln here, so definitely try and keep an eye on that. Oh, you've put your book on now. You put your book on. You put your book on, so that's good to see. Maybe you turned it off before while you were doing the hands. I'm not too sure. But yeah, make sure you vuln as well, because that's going to increase your damage by 10%. But you have brought them, so I think you may have just forgot. Again, because of recording, it's definitely a thing. Yeah, so with that, you could again just step forward a little bit. In fact, where you were stood, I think was pretty good, pretty safe. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. So during this phase, what you can do, and we'll see if you do it, is if you follow him around a little bit and use abilities, you'll actually build your Adrenaline up as you're flying around. You can keep spamming abilities. Now that you've got a target, you don't actually even need to be near him. If you just use an ability now, like now, your guy would try to run towards him, and you would build your Adrenaline up, but you wouldn't have to go near, because it'll try and use your ability, and that's what gives you the Adrenaline. So you can build it to 100%, and the second he comes back down, you can drop your Death Swiftness. That's definitely worth keeping in mind though. So a few things that you could definitely look at buying is the tier 99 curse, which is obviously going to be a way off. You've got 250 mil, but just to add to your shopping list, the tier 99 curse would be great, absolutely great. I assume you've probably got perks on your gear already. I'm not too sure what. I'm probably going to say budget perks. But if you don't have many perks on there, then definitely get the budget ones. You could get a Dragon Slayer sigil as well. I'm not too sure how much they are. I want to say less than 100 mil though. I could be completely wrong on that. Let me have a quick check actually. Okay, so I've just checked on Discord, and it is 46 mil to 50 mil for one of those. Definitely worth grabbing one of those. You will increase your damage so much here. It does when you use the Dragon Slayer sigil, when he's doing the smoke and stuff. It's like free DPS. You just absolutely slaughter. Definitely get yourself a Dragon Slayer sigil. 55 mil, 50 mil is absolutely worth it. So your perks, your 1999 prayer, and your Dragon Slayer sigil will help out a ton here. You could work on things like Limitless too, but don't worry about that just yet. Like, it's pretty expensive. It's a great ability to have, but for now, I would probably just stick to working on getting maybe some dual wield crossbows or something like that. But yeah, and the Hydrix Bolt Switch, all that sort of good stuff. So here, you should definitely be using your ECB. So when he does this smoke here, he doesn't actually attack. He's just chilling and doing nothing. you want to have your ECB on here. You could do so much more damage if you had ECB on right now. Look how much damage you're doing without it. If you had it on, you would be absolutely melting him. I think you notice here because you got a soul split, but then you still need to get the ECB spec on. But you could have absolutely been melting him here. Maybe you're quite new to the ECB and you're getting used to it still, but you definitely want to take advantage of that. Whenever he's not attacking you, you want to be using that ECB 100% of the time. In fact, I'd probably be using it now anyway. I'd probably debill ECB spec and just absolutely slaughter him. Because you're nearly there. But overall, you understand the fight well. I think it's just getting used to taking advantage of certain DPS things, and maybe managing your adrenaline a little bit better as you go into phases, so that you're ready to death swiftness. Because we death swifted at the beginning, but I think that was the only time, right? Cool. You actually knocked a minute 48. No, 1 minute and 4.8 seconds off of your personal record. That's great. Good job. Awesome. So, like I say, what I would suggest you do when you start the fight, you do use death swiftness, which is absolutely great to see. But you want to be, as you come into phasing and stuff. So when you kill this last hand over here, let's have a look where it is. As you kill this last hand, you want to be trying to make sure adrenaline is 100%. That's going to be absolutely huge for you. It's going to make you be able to death swiftness straight away, and you definitely want to do that. The next thing is to bring along spiritual prayer potions instead of restores, because your Ripper Demon, you want to make him use more than that amount of scrolls. It's good, right? It's good that he's using them, but bringing the spiritual prayer potions makes him use them more. You can just sip them every now and again. Keep using them, even if your prayer's on full, just use them. Bring 3, get through 3 in a fight. It's fine. Like, they're expensive, but just get through them in a fight. It'll get through, like, it will make your Ripper Demon do so much damage. Like, you won't even believe it. They do so much. The next thing would be just try and remember to use a Vuln Bomb. I think you started with 5 Vuln Bombs. Yeah, you did. So you didn't actually use a Vuln Bomb just yet. But you're recording. You probably forgot. You forgot the full book for a little while. It is what it is. It happens, and I'm not going to critique you for that. I'm just going to say, just try and remember to use that, just in case. And then, other than that, it's death swiftness. Like, now you want to be death swiftnessing using your adrenaline potion, and then you want to start off using your ECB spec along with like rapid fire, all that sort of stuff. And you want to just do as much damage as you can. When you go through here, you want to be using your death swiftness. You want to get through all the damage that you can. Use your adrenaline potion to get through thresholds, chuck all that damage out. Also, you could grab yourself the Dragon Slayer Sigil. That would do a lot of damage too. Use that at the same time when you death swiftness. Use it then too. And that's pretty much kind of it for now, I would say. There's a lot of stuff that you could do, but I don't want to like overload you with information. People quite often comment or say or message me afterwards saying, oh, you could have said this, and this. I kind of don't want to throw in everything, because it's a lot, right? You got to take in quite a lot at once. So I think it's a good idea if at this point you just take on those sort of things first, which will be using the spiritual prayer potions, using your death swiftness, timing your adrenaline, bring Hydrix bolt switches, make sure you keep an eye on your book and stuff, that sort of good stuff. Remember to use your vulns, and that's kind of like enough, I would say, for one video, because if you go way too far with it, then you kind of overloaded. You'll remember like 1 or 2 other things instead of all of them, and then you kind of stress yourself out when you're trying to learn. So once you do that, if you want to come back to me, ask more questions, or send another clip to see how far you've gone, then feel free to do that. A lot of people wanted to see like a follow-up anyway, so if you want to do that, then feel free. Your ability usage seems pretty good though. Like, honestly, your ability usage seems fine. You're on full manual, so you're doing a good job with that. I would just suggest maybe use that death swiftness a bit more. Like, you definitely want to do that. So this phase here as well, when he's using the smokes here, you definitely just want to make sure you got death swiftness down, or use your ECB spec like you are if you don't have the adrenaline for the other one, and just stay close. You don't have to worry too much. Just stay close to him like this. When you're in front of him, just there, that's where the smoke's going to be. If you stand like just here, you'll always be fine. The smoke won't get you. So just stand here, and if it is going to come to get you, just step forward 2, step back 2, whatever you need to do. But don't surge away, don't run out of the way and stuff. Now would be also a great time to down the living crap out of spiritual prayer potions. So yeah, I hope that stuff does help though. If you have any questions, you know, just DM me on Discord again, and honestly, I will be happy to help. If anyone else has any questions, then feel free to do the same. If you want to submit a clip to me to take a look at as well, then do give me a direct message on Discord too, with a link to a YouTube video just like this. Just unlist it or whatever you want to do with it, and I'll take a look and do the exact same thing. Like I said, this was the Blackstone Dragon, and I'm not that great at ED2, so I didn't want to give too much on the mechanics, and there probably was more that I could have mentioned here than I actually have, because of the same thing. But I don't want to give information that isn't right. I don't want to like give false information. It's just not going to be helpful. So I kind of stick to what I am certain about, and that's probably the safest way to go. So if you guys have any other stuff, drop it in the comments, but be nice. Any toxic comments get removed on these videos, just so you know. Don't just get removed, you get hidden from the channel, so you can't comment anymore. So keep that in mind. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I hope it helped, dude. Thank you everybody else for watching. Hope it helps you all too, and I will see you all in the next one. See you later, guys.